Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of the AV2 24-25 Pack Pod. My name is Eva and I'm one of your hosts.
Hi guys, my name is Rex Pearson. I'm also one of your hosts.
Aren't you just so excited?
Yes,
we're finally here.
We've been
can't
setting this up
believe it.
for a few weeks now, guys. This has been in the making.
From everything from planning the first episode to getting the set ready, but it's finally here.
Getting the set ready was my favorite part.
I honestly think it was, and I mean, look at how great it turned out.
I think it turned out very well, y'all.
I think my favorite addition is my buddy over here.
She screamed like a little girl when I brought Toothless in.
That is not true. You were setting me up on that one. All right, well, welcome to the Pack Pod. As I said, this is a AV2, I guess what would you call that, sponsored event, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like our teacher giving us the freedom to talk about our class and movies.
Shout out to Miss Mateo over there.
Yes, shout out to Miss Mateo.
Our amazing AV2 teacher. You should totally take AV and AV2 because you'll get to be with her. She's great.
She is amazing.
Which I guess leads to the first topic. Rex, in your own words, describe what AV and AV2 is.
AV and AV2, it's a class where you get to work with cameras and you get to work with editing softwares on really nice computers, all for free. If you join AV, you actually get access to an editing software, actually multiple editing softwares called After Effects and Premiere Pro, and you get them all for free the entire year while you take the class. And that is one of my favorite parts, is getting to edit in the class. There's a lot of like different projects that Miss Mateo will have you do in AV, and then when you get to AV2, she gives you more freedom, and you get to kind of do what you want and use your creativity to your own, I guess,
your own like inhibitions. Like
yes.
If you wanted to create a short film, then you have the means to do it in this class. If you wanted to create a podcast like we're doing right now, you have the means to do it in this class. And it's a really great way for students who want to go into broadcasting or film. It's a really great first step for kids to take. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, AV was fun.
And you get to, I mean, the equipment here is like state of the art. So like you don't get to use this equipment for free like anywhere else. So getting the chance to use all of this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity.
We are very, very lucky to have the equipment and have the teacher to teach us, which I guess goes into the next question. How are we using the skills? But I guess we kind of just talked about that.
Yeah, I mean, this year I've been editing more. I've been trying to, especially because we've had a few edits this year that we've already been assigned, and I've been trying to go different about it this year than I was last year. Last year I didn't really I didn't mess around with like the text and stuff. Yeah. And this year I want to do that more, especially after I learned about this thing called Saber, and it's this After Effects add-on.
Ooh.
Shout out to Zach. He's a student in my class. He taught me about that. That looks really cool. But it's been really cool, like getting to use my creativity more this year.
I know one thing I was really excited for in AV2 is because last year when she talked about AV2, she was like, they get a lot more freedom and they get to really branch out into their creativity. And I think that's the really cool thing about getting to work to AV2 is because in AV1 you're genuinely learning about the cameras. Like you are learning the functions, you're learning the different type of shots, you're learning color correction, you're learning the programs. Like the two we worked with last year was Premiere Pro and After Effects. Yes. And we did a little bit of GarageBand last year too. That was fun. That was my favorite project.
The GarageBand one was fun.
That was
I liked that one a lot.
I was like a little girl screaming.
I would like to use GarageBand again.
You would?
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's a fun little except it's confusing.
It is really.
It took me like 5 minutes to figure out where all the preset one was, but once I found it, I did pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, AV1 is a great way to learn, and then if you like it, then I would take the next step to AV2 because I mean, it's not just the class either. Like, there are people in here that I've never talked to,
That's true.
and you are literally making like friends in this class, and it's even funner because you all have this passion to do like AV material related things, and you're all like, you are helping each other out, you are critiquing each other's work. Like, it's not as much as a hands-on, more as it is like group work in a sense.
Yeah,
and
like
that's
I love this
I
class
love
is
about
very big on teamwork. I feel like it's a very like teamwork based class, especially for projects like this, like a podcast. I know y'all can't see them, but we have multiple camera operators behind us.
There.
Shout out to them.
And they're great. Yeah, shout out to the production crew. All right, so I guess that kind of leads into what we've been working on in this class leading up.
I'm excited
and
to talk about this.
There has actually been a few projects that we've done in, what is this, I guess the fourth week of school.
This would be the third week.
Yeah, and we've already done, we did the calling the pack in the first day video.
And the montage video.
We had the montage videos. I know a couple of our classmates have done some extracurricular projects. Like one of our classmates, his name is Luke Perez, super talented kid, insanely talented kid. He just did a hype video for the football team.
Y'all have to go watch it on Instagram at Perez_production.
Shout out to Perez Productions.
Insane. Go watch it. He interviewed an old student that went to West who went pro in the NFL. His name's Jordan Pugh. Y'all gotta go watch it. It was amazing.
Yeah, I know our other classmate Zach has done some pretty great things.
Yes.
His video,
his first day video made it onto the.
His first day video made it to the big screen, which shout out to Zach for that. Yes, sir.
Shout out to Zach. We have a lot of talented kids in this class.
We do.
There are a lot of talented people in here.
There are. No, and I know Maurice has done some big things on the football lineup. And you with your little voiceover acting like we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, if you guys watch the at the home games, if you guys see the West team when their names and their positions are being read out loud, that's me. That
I
would
know.
be me this year.
Yeah, this is the voice behind the madness, guys.
It was pretty fun.
It's
I
great.
will say.
It's great. Congratulations, Rex.
Thank you.
Such a big honor. I know that Josh was working on the Royales, and I think he was working on the band too, which was super cool.
Yeah, the Royales one looked amazing too.
Oh yeah. They look really, all of it looks really good.
All of it looked amazing.
It's cool to be like, yeah, that's my classmate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh, who did that? Oh, I like sit 2 seats from him. What are you talking about? Yeah, so there's been a lot going on, and it hasn't even been that long, but it's cool to watch.
Like this has been like the craziest year so far, and it's only like the third weekend.
I know.
I feel like we've been doing so much.
I know. It is.
It's been a lot of fun though.
Thing after thing after thing, and we actually started a new project, didn't we?
Yes, we did. We have a mood project. And we get to check out equipment such as cameras and stuff, and we get to pretty much we take shots of like to make you feel a certain mood, and then you have to convey the mood without explaining what the mood is. So you can't use people or voices or words, but you have to use shots of like items or places or things.
Yeah, and honestly, it's cool because
it's a cool concept to convey a mood.
I've never, well, I guess I say never. You listen, I'm a girl, okay? We look at Pinterest. Pinterest is the #1 place where mood boards, pictures that are showing you moods, but doing it in film versus doing it in a photo, that's something that like for me is like starting this project is like, oh, that's gonna be like the #1 challenge is how do you use shots?
How do you like use objects as like to convey an emotion?
Right. And
how do you convey emotions without people feeling the emotions?
Right. And that goes into like even in movies, that goes into like montage scenes. Like what's a good example of a movie that does that? Okay, any Christmas movie.
Okay.
The opening scenes where you see the children walking down the street and you see all the little trinkets
Mm-hmm.
in the windows, and you know, all of the small like Christmas traditions.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to say anything to tell people like it's Christmas.
That's true.
It's a happy time. The same thing in like the beginning of The Nightmare Before Christmas. Is that
Mhm.
the movie with
You're thinking of the one with Jack Skellington?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the opening few
Mhm.
moments when it's rolling through all the different like areas of like Halloween Town, like I guess it's never really clicked to me that it's like they're not just doing that to fill it,
Yeah.
to like fill the movie to give you a transition.
They're doing it to like convey.
Yeah, they're doing it to convey a scene, an
Yeah.
emotion, and
I think
I
it's-
guess it's like really opening my eyes doing this project.
It's really cool seeing that in movies. Like seeing like I feel like horror movies do that really well. Like conveying like
Mhm.
how scary something is without doing anything. Like Halloween with Michael Myers, that's a really good one.
Yes.
He doesn't have to do anything.
It's a little too good.
I feel like, especially like, I don't know if you saw, there was a horror movie that came out earlier this year called Long Legs, and that did so good at like making you feel terrified without showing the guy you're supposed to be terrified for, because they did not show him
my
like the
gosh.
entire movie until like it finally mattered to show him, and when
Yeah.
they finally did show him, like you are already terrified.
Oh my god.
And
I
just
can't
seeing him,
do
it
horror
was so
movies.
terrifying.
I like okay, I watched the first Conjuring.
Mhm.
I didn't even get halfway through. But they didn't even need to do anything. You
Dude.
just saw the swing just idly
Mhm.
going, and I was like, I'm out. I can't do it anymore.
Dude, or the house itself was creepy. Just
Oh,
like
it was
there was the
terrifying.
one scene in the beginning where it was like, it was I don't know what they called the shot, but it was like you could see the house and it was like zooming out really really far onto the road.
Oh, yes.
That shot will never not scare me. That house is terrifying.
I don't know which shot you're talking about, but I do know the effect it has, because
It's so
as somebody
scary.
who is idly scared of any horror movie, it's not going to go over well for me.
I will say the one horror movie that never scared me was Annabelle.
Really?
I never got scared by Annabelle.
Really?
Like she freaked me out, but like not like enough to be like terrified.
That surprises me, because
was more scared
anytime
of
I
Chucky.
saw that doll, listen, those Raggedy Ann dolls, don't even get me started on the Raggedy Ann dolls.
I don't like Raggedy Ann dolls.
And seeing Annabelle,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like,
Hell no.
I'm out. You don't
No.
have to tell me. You, Chucky, whatever other creepy doll, the one in Goosebumps,
Oh,
the one in, yes, Slappy. Stop it. Don't even talk to me.
Slappy
Don't
was
even come near me with it.
Slappy was just a freak. He was just like always trying to freak you out. He just did it on purpose.
Yeah, well, he did a good job of it, because and those filmmakers knew what they were doing too. The introduction to
Mhm.
Goosebumps will forever be like iconic in itself.
Goosebumps, amazing show and an amazing movie. I recommend both.
Go watch it.
I recommend both. Jack Black's
Um,
actually in the movie. He plays someone in Goosebumps. Fun fact.
Oh, in the
for y'all.
Goosebumps movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he plays the guy that writes the Goosebumps books.
Yes, he does. R.L. Stein.
Yes, he plays R.L. Stein.
Yes.
And then the later in that movie, there R.L. Stein actually makes a guest appearance.
I love when directors do that. Like
Yes.
Stan Lee in the Marvel
Mhm,
movies.
Stan Lee
when
is
he
in every
always
Marvel
makes
movie.
a cameo. It's possibly one of
Actually,
the best things.
You know what I love?
What?
Even though that Stan Lee has since passed,
R.I.P.
they're still doing cameos with him. Like they still keep his face like in the movie.
As they should.
Yeah, like in Deadpool and Wolverine, he was on like the side of a bus.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Yes,
yeah, he was on the side of the bus.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I love that they do that.
I do too. That's a really great way to keep him.
Like his memory alive.
Yeah.
And his impact alive.
I mean, because he built Marvel.
he did.
He really did, and he did so good.
I mean,
he
he
did
didn't
so
he didn't
good.
build it by himself. I won't say that, but he did do most of it. And he made Spider-Man.
Personally, Spider-Man's not my favorite.
What?
But-
Wait, who's your favorite?
Listen. Listen. I have only seen so many Marvel movies. But after seeing the Deadpool versus Wolverine,
It's gonna be Wolverine. y'all.
Wolverine will forever be it. I'm telling you.
It's not Wolverine. It's Hugh Jackman.
Stop it. You can't sell me out like this. Listen, for the girls who get it. The girls who don't. That's all I'm saying. But
I'm just a man.
But it's
I
not
like
just.
Spider-Man. I like the red and blue aspect of Spider-Man most.
No, I like Wolverine because I like the character arc he had.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how the directors, and this is a part of storyboarding, and script writing, which is something they did really well. I like how they made his character, like, you expect him to be the one who, like, almost gives up in a sense in that moment when he is in his mind with Cassandra. I like how they almost make it seem like he's going to be the one to give up. Like, he's going to be the one to switch teams, and he's going to fight against Deadpool because, you know, it's been mistakenly clear that they do not like each other up until this point. And I like that trick comes and he doesn't, which I thought was, like, as somebody who writes and enjoys, you know, paying attention to character development, that was something that for the script writers who decided to take his characters that way, and through, like, the storyboarding process of how to, like, even show that in, because again, that goes back to, like, the mood of the scene, because in his mind, obviously, if you've seen the movie, then you've seen it's, like, in this field, there's rock slide, it's really, like, it's somber.
You're talking about, like, the one where I don't remember, Professor X's sister, where she's like in his mind and he's like giving us his backstory.
Yeah. It was really cool to see them not let his character go there. And it was really cool to see, like, Wolverine kind of almost have, like, I wouldn't call it redemption, more like a second chance.
Yeah. Like,
to really live his life, especially with the ending. I was so happy with the ending. I'm so glad they stayed together. And their chemistry off set is amazing. If you've seen any of the interviews, which I highly suggest you go do
Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman will always be two of my favorite superhero actors because they both played their characters, like, very well.
And absolutely.
And I think Ryan is, like, the only person I could ever see playing Deadpool. Like, he's the only person on this planet that has that, like, that spark.
Because he carries it with him everywhere.
He does.
He even carries it into, like,
the charisma.
For his wife's movie, It Ends With Us. There was an interview where he sat across from her co-star and was like, "So, you never thought you'd be interviewed by your co-star's husband, right?" And you could just it carries on him as Deadpool, and it's the best thing ever.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, well, that leads me to my next question.
Oh, yeah?
So, what movies and shows did you, like, what were you watching before the start of school, before the podcast?
I saw Deadpool and Wolverine twice. I saw Longlegs, and to be honest, I guess not that much.
Really? Not even like TV shows either?
I mean, I've been watching a lot more TV shows. Like, I actually just finished Dexter. I recommend that show. That show is really good. I'm excited for they're making, I don't know why, they're making a third one.
Ooh.
They're making a third show, and it's called Dexter Resurrection, and it's supposed to take place after his other spinoff, New Blood. And if any of you watched New Blood, you know that ending was terrible. So, we pray that
I guess no hate,
better.
but no, that's fun.
They just left him to die in the cold.
R.I.P. some characters. I swear, sometimes writers do the most heartbreaking thing to their characters, and I'm just like, why?
Actually, this is going to bring me back to the thing about actors who play their character really well. I really love Michael C. Hall, the guy that plays Dexter, because I saw him in an interview, and the interviewer was asking him about the new show, and she was like, well, last we saw, it was confirmed that Dexter was dead in New Blood. And he was like, was it? And he was like, all I can really say was that it's really cold out there. And that was chilling to hear.
Yeah.
Because a little fun fact, if you're losing blood but it's really cold outside, it'll slow that down. So in the show, since he was losing blood outside where it was really cold,
which means that it slowed down, which means that
meaning he's probably still alive.
Is Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? That's a cool technique because they did the same thing
That would make the ending way
in
better.
Riverdale,
Did
actually, with Cheryl in one of the early seasons.
Wasn't that like when she fell into the ice?
Yeah, she did. And
Wasn't like when he like punched the ice open? Wasn't that real?
yeah, well, I don't know.
Because I heard that like
Well,
he,
actually,
she,
I
like,
heard that was real.
I
I
heard
heard that
she-
he was actually
yeah.
genuinely like terrified.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, hey, do it for the shot. Am I right?
I know, but what I was gonna point out is, I wonder how they do that, like the shot wise in like creating that like cold atmosphere. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know that some shows actually go to locations, like Harry Potter was known for this, traveling around to like all these different locations, and I'm sure there's like a million other TV shows and shows that come to mind. Cheetah Girls,
Mm-hmm.
when they went across Europe, and you see people all the time holding up photos in front of like these real life places. I wonder if they actually did that, or if they were able to recreate that like coldness on set.
I mean, if she really fell into like, I always wonder how like some things, like how they make some things a set. Like how
Oh,
would
yeah.
you make like a frozen lake a set?
Right.
That just like confuses
Right.
me.
Like,
Which is
did
like,
you get ice and literally put it over
did
water?
you dig a lake inside the Warner Brothers lot?
Dig
Like,
a lake
is there a lake we
inside.
don't know about?
No, but that's real, because sometimes they do these crazy things. Like I took a film class this summer,
Mhm.
actually, and it kind of went more into the development of film and a little bit into like production wise, but it also talked about like sets. And one of the really cool things that it kind of went over was, there was this movie, and I don't remember the movie. It was a movie on space though.
Okay.
But don't quote me on
Got
that
it.
because I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure it was a movie on space. But they took an actual carousel and they put it in the studio, and they built like a space station almost within the carousel to give it that like gravity effect. And I was just sitting here, and there was like a picture of it, and it's like
Mhm.
this whole cylinder on this carousel, and I was like, how do you have the money to do that? And how do you have the like what goes in? I know there's a lot that goes into set
Mhm.
building, like on AV just in general,
Yeah.
because we have to do it here when we're
Yeah.
doing things like this, or when
Like
we're
this.
doing things
We
like
set-
last year with the short film. One of the big things was worrying about like, how are you gonna use your set and use the resources you have around you to build it. And that's always one of the more interesting things for me, is like in big major production Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
how are you getting the like, yeah, this is how we're going to build this set. We're going to take a carousel, we're going to put it in here, and we're going to make a cylinder around it, and boom, space station.
Some people think, I don't know how some people come up with the things they come up with. Because, like, even for, like, Star Wars,
Right.
you know, all the spaceships are just, like, little. Some of them
Yes.
are paintings.
Yes,
Some of
yes,
it's
they
paintings.
are.
It's insane.
And Star Wars
It's, like, all practical effects. None of it was CGI in the original films.
was, I mean, gosh, film-wise, that whole franchise is revolutionary,
Mm-hmm.
but especially on the effects. And
Yes.
and especially since we're kind of branching off of that mood topic,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the mood, and I think it shows the most in Star Wars with the costumes.
Star Wars has some
And what
amazing
I'm
costumes,
talking
y'all.
about is the difference between Luke's very light and airy cloaks
Mm-hmm.
versus Darth Vader's
Very.
midnight black,
Yeah.
red, green, or blue. I don't remember what his lightsaber
It was
was.
red.
Is red? Well, his was red, but Luke's
It was blue and then it was
is
green.
blue, and it was green.
Yeah.
How you use the different colors to show the different sides,
Mm-hmm.
and that has always interested me on sets.
I've always loved that about Star Wars, is how like red was the bad guy and like the other colors could be the good guys. And then as it's gone on, like white has become like it's like an anti-Jedi. So you're like, you're still a Jedi, but you're not a Jedi. And so, like, you don't follow the Jedi code or the
Yeah.
Sith code. You follow neither. You follow your own thing. Then there's, like, yellow means something special. And I know purple wasn't originally going to be a lightsaber color. But Samuel L. Jackson is a
so
cool
pretty.
person. And I love him.
It's so pretty.
You guys know Tupac was actually supposed to play Mace Windu?
Really?
Yeah. Tupac was George Lucas's first pick for Mace Windu, but then he died. So Samuel L. Jackson took the role. But
he did really well.
yes,
He
I've
did
always
really
wondered
well
what
in
that
the
would have
role.
been like to have Tupac as Mace Windu.
And going off of that, also, the special effects for Chewbacca.
Yeah. Chewbacca's always looked good. I don't think Chewbacca ever, like, they have always, like, he's always looked amazing in his movies.
He has, and I don't think it's the same actor for him either.
No.
But
doubt
whatever costume or special effects they've used for him in every single film, he's always like, that's Chewbacca.
Same with, like, C-3PO and R2-D2, because they've been around since the 70s.
Yeah.
And so, like, getting it back then to work, back then a little person played R2-D2. I didn't know that. I thought it was an actual robot. But there was a man inside of that costume, and I don't know how they made that work. There's
mean, like,
R2-D2 in the original trilogy is a real person.
Man just kind of in there, like,
Yeah. R2-D2 is a real person in the original trilogy, y'all.
wow.
It's really weird. I've seen him without his helmet.
Like,
It's super strange.
That's like what I figured out with the goblins in Harry Potter. A lot of them were animatronics, but a lot of them were also literal men. And I was like, who like did like face of, I don't know what you call it, prosthetics, like makeup prosthetics to give them that like goblin look. And I was just like,
some of these are real, some of these aren't.
I mean, it's kind of cool though. Like, yeah, I was a goblin in Harry Potter. What are you talking about?
I think the people that work on makeup for some of these movies, they deserve way more love than they get.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
just makeup artists in general, because I think
makeup artists are insane.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times when people think of AV or like film and radio, a lot of the times their number one jump is to the technical side behind it and the editing side behind it.
Yeah.
And yes, that is a part of AV, and it's probably one of the biggest parts of AV. But the other part is you have the costume designers and the set designers, and you have the makeup artists.
We would not have movies if it wasn't for the people behind the scenes.
No, we wouldn't. Are you kidding me?
Like,
if you put me on
one show I'll never get by that their makeup artists were insane was The Walking Dead. Because all of the zombies, they'd get like a bunch of filler people, do their makeup for hours, put them in the city, and then duplicate all of them to make the hordes of zombies. And that is impressive, because like, even I'm surprised they even got little kids to do it.
I'm not.
It was like, because I don't know, there's not like a lot.
That's like pointing at a little kid and saying, "Hey, do you want to come be in like Harry Potter or Star Wars, or do you want to come be in The Walking Dead?"
That's true. A little kid would like.
A little kid would jump at that opportunity.
I don't know, because I was talking with my friend about like in the very first episode, we were talking about how in The Walking Dead there's like no children zombies, except for in the very first episode there's one little girl zombie, and the main character Rick, he shoots the zombie in the head because zombie's dead, just wants to put the girl out of her misery. But I never understood why there was only that one child zombie when there should be like a bunch of them if the whole world ended.
Yeah.
But it's like there's almost none.
Well, I guess
was
it's
the one
also
complaint.
like,
Probably to like.
it's
less
also like,
brutal.
how many children are you going to put in there knowing that they're probably going to die?
True.
Which is kind of sad. But I mean, it's also like a realistic thing. Like, if you're really looking at the circumstances, and there should be more.
It's completely a realism thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no, it would probably make everyone really sad, but like realistically looking at like if 8 billion people are going to turn into zombies, like 3 billion of them are children, y'all.
Well, I know that I'm packing up my crap and I'm leaving.
Yeah, I'll be moving to Mars.
You will never see me again. Eva's where? Eva's gone. Out the door. She's not staying around.
Mark Clark, y'all.
No, I binged Supernatural.
It's an amazing show.
Originally it was because I'm a girl and Dean Winchester was amazing. But then I started looking at the plot.
And I love Jensen Ackles.
Yeah, so I was
Super
watching Supernatural,
smart. Yes.
and originally it was because, oh, fine guy, whatever, you know, I'm a girl. It's how we choose shows, I'm telling you.
It's
And
understandable.
I got into it, and originally I thought it was gonna be like a horror film,
Yes.
and it wasn't. The really cool things they do set wise
Mm-hmm.
is with the towns and the different atmospheres. Like, with shows that move around a lot,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's so hard to continuously worry about that set. Like, they're going cross country all the time.
It's true.
And for the directors and the set builders to be able to,
Like, change it up. every
right,
episode.
to capture like literal change, like you literally feel like you are moving into another state, into a completely new town every single episode, that takes skill.
Yeah.
And
That is actually really impressive.
And that's really cool.
If you can, if you're watching a show and they're going like state to state each episode, and like you feel as if you were in that state,
Yeah.
you know the show did well.
Yeah. And it was also like a great show. Like,
it was.
are you kidding me?
I love Supernatural.
It's great. I haven't finished it yet, but Cass is a baby, and justice for Cass. Really though, really, Cass was really thrown through the ringer. I mean, I get Dean and Sam, they went through their own stuff, but like Cass,
Oh, just wait.
justice for
What
Cass.
has Dean done so far?
What?
What has Dean done so? What's the craziest thing Dean's done?
That I've seen?
Yeah.
Probably bargain with death. Oh, and spoilers, by the way, so if you haven't seen Supernatural. But I think
Dude,
the craziest...
she's telling you guys spoilers. Just wait till she sees the end.
I think the craziest thing I've seen Dean done in, like, from where I'm at
What
is...
season are you on?
Is wear Death's ring.
Okay.
And
He's like making the deal with death.
making the deal with death, and then actually going and living out. And that's a really cool effect they did, especially when with the ghosts
Mhm.
and all the spirits that they're constantly showing. That's a CGI effect. That is really freaking cool. And they do that. I've seen it in several different movies too. Like, it's not just Supernatural, but like the effect of like pulling a shadow out of
Mhm.
somebody and
That's-
like actually making it
that's
look like
terrifying.
a genuine shadow.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying.
Pulling
but
the
it's
shadow out of
cool.
somebody.
Yeah. So Supernatural, for all my ladies out there, Bridgerton.
I hear Bridgerton's pretty good. I've
It's
never
so
watched
good.
it, but I do hear it's good.
It's
I hear a lot
so
of people love it.
good. It's and I mean,
I heard a
just
lot
from
of people this summer were having Bridgerton themed weddings.
as they should.
A lot of people on TikTok had Bridgerton themed weddings this summer.
Yeah, because
I do like the way they dress in
after-
that show. Like, everyone's fitted in that show.
in Bridgerton,
Yeah, everyone's
costume wise.
Yeah, costume wise, everyone looks good.
Oh yeah.
The costumes are insane for that show.
Oh yeah.
What time period does it take?
That's 18.
Well, that explains a lot.
1813 is the first. So by the third season, it's probably 1816.
This makes
And
sense.
they're the number one show that does not do historical accuracy, and I'm fine with it.
Wow.
So in the first season, their costumes are more historically accurate,
Uh-huh.
and then they progressively get not accurate to the time period, but it works
Okay.
because it's Bridgerton. And if you hear the behind the scenes on that, and
Yeah.
I didn't even know this at first, but there was, because you follow the Bridgerton Instagram, right? And so a lot of what they're showing is what goes on behind production. And they went to the costume developers one day, and I never even thought about this before, but they were like, yeah, so we were using colors and we were using patterns that would make her character stand out as this unforgiving, very confident character. And it's when Cressida Cowper is a character and Lady Whistledown is the Ton's drama magazine.
Yeah.
Well, if you watch season 3, then you know that Penelope Featherington is the real Lady Whistledown, but Cressida claims to be Whistledown in that season. And the costume developers literally used color and patterns to paint Cressida to the eyes of everybody that she was Whistledown. Like that she was this embodiment, she was this feminine, strong, feminine character who genuinely writes these papers. And it was so interesting to hear about because it's like I never think of costume as adding on to a character.
Yeah.
But it does in a way that's like it's not just the technical side.
I
it's
definitely
literally
think costume is always added to character. I think
yeah.
to me one of the biggest things, and I'm gonna take us back to The Walking Dead for this. In season 4 of the show, we see Rick. This is a complete spoiler warning for the show. I'm gonna spoil the hell out of it. We see Rick Grimes, who's the main character, and he's inside this house. And his girlfriend and his son went off searching for stuff, and while he's just kind of relaxing in the house, resting, so this group called the Claimers shows up, and Rick's fight or flight instincts just kind of sort of kick in, and he like sneaks around the house a little bit, and he watches these two Claimers. They like fight each other, and then he steals this jacket from one of them, and this jacket The Walking Dead used to be a comic series before it was a show, and in the comics he had this jacket, and it was considered his murder jacket. That's what people call it. And before Rick had this jacket, he was just he was just a character.
Right.
And then he gets that jacket, and like something in his brain switches, and he's like a psychopath because later that same day, actually, he links back up with his girlfriend and his son, and they're all walking on these train tracks, and at night they're like all camping by this car, and because Rick stole the jacket and killed somebody, the Claimers were looking for him, and because of the fight that he saw, one of the dudes knew what he looked like, and so they find Rick, and the leader put the gun to the back of his head and was like, what are you gonna do now, sport? And Rick, it was so weird, like when it would go between shot to shot to shot so quickly. It would show Rick's face and him stressing out. It would show Michonne's face, she's stressing out, and then it would show his son's face, he's stressing out. And once it shows his son's face, you go back to Rick, and he it was like his instincts just kicked in. He immediately just headbutts the dude behind him, starts looking for his son, and then the dude grabs him like this. Rick bit his throat.
Right, but it's that's not just the fact that his character is doing that, but they're using the costume to amplify the change, and then they're using the shots to, I guess, what's the best way to say that? To show you in a way. I guess not show you, but to ramp up. On top of the costume, you have the fast changing shots to pull you to it.
About his costume, especially that jacket I like, is how after he does do something terrible in the jacket, the little white fuzzy part on it, because it's like a jean jacket and then it's got this little white fuzzy, it turns red. It's all red every time he does something terrible in the jacket, and I love that. It's a symbolic thing. That's why it's called his murder jacket.
It's literally using the costume to amplify the scene.
Yeah, it quite literally is I really love when shows and films do that to amplify a scene or to to really convey how serious something is.
Right, and I'm gonna listen. I love Victorian films, so a lot of the times when I'm comparing something, if I'm not talking about Harry Potter, I'm talking about a Victorian film. They do it in Pride and Prejudice. And they do it with my man, Mr. Darcy. Mr. Darcy. I'm sorry. I'm such a fangirl for all my characters. Because also Elizabeth, she's a girl boss. But Mr. Darcy, the whole kind of film, except for a few select scenes, he's this very dressed nice character. He's always in this, of what gentlemen in that era would wear, the top coat, the suit, the jacket, the pants, the boots. He's very dressed the whole time. And then during the rain scene, when he's finally like, I have loved you forever, which is a great scene, he's not dressed in the usual
Like nice outfit.
nice outfit. And it's the scene when it's very famous scene. He's walking across the pasture towards Elizabeth, who's standing in the distance, and he's not dressed in the proper what I'd seen him wear the whole time. And it's a way to be like, he's literally vulnerably coming to you right now.
Yeah.
Because his character is like, no, I'm not going to marry a stubborn woman who thinks she has a braid. And then by the end of the movie, he's literally coming to her in his like pajamas and is like, I love you. I'm like, I love you too. But, you know, the point of it is. And they do it in...
I feel like that shows a lot of growth.
Yeah, it does. I feel like they use costume to show the growth in characters a lot of the times.
And sometimes they do it to show the opposite, like to show a character that won't grow.
Right. What's the show I'm thinking about?
I can think of a good example.
Yeah, go ahead.
Vader, Darth Vader, if all of you know him in like the big black costume when he's evil. When in the very final movie of Return of the Jedi, when his son finally turns it back to the good side, he takes his helmet off. He takes the big scary helmet off that he needs to live just so he can be good and see his son one final time before he dies. I think that shows
they
a crazy
do the same thing to Kylo too. The way that he like progressively sheds, because when you first see Kylo, he is enveloped in layers of like the cape and the cloak, and as the movie as his kind of arc develops, he slowly loses a layer.
I noticed that because like throughout the movies, his costume, like, it got so cool throughout the movies, but it was like a lot for the first one, and then like it wasn't that much in the third one.
And you know who they do that same technique to?
Who?
Voldemort.
Really?
In Harry Potter. So one of the things that really piqued my interest is, so you notice in the movies how that introduction gets bleaker and bleaker as you go through the movies. So that's not only a technical choice, but as Voldemort progressively loses a Horcrux, his robes get grayer. So when you first see him, he's in this very defined, very, very dark green, blackish almost robe. And then by the final battle of Hogwarts, he's standing there in this pale, very light gray shawl. And it's literally a costume decision to progressively show his layers fading. And they do that in Harry Potter, and they do that in Star Wars. And I think that's it's a very cool tactic to take costume on top of set to progressively show how somebody is like either declining or changing.
You know, now that you say that, I can think of a time, because I'm thinking about this now, like Anakin. He like started off in these really light, like just like one level of like a robe, and like just like ran, because I mean he was just a little slave boy from Tatooine, and so like then he like upgraded to Jedi robes, but then like as like the movies progressed, he just kept adding more and more layers to it.
Right, it's showing his growth.
Yeah, until eventually in Revenge of the Sith, he's quite literally in all black, sick costume by the way, all black robes with like this brown Jedi robe, and then after that he's Vader. And so like it's like I feel like it just progressively like shows him falling more towards the dark side rather than the light. Yeah,
and they do that in set as well.
They did a lot of things in Breaking Bad with color too.
Yes,
like
yes, they did.
A lot of I don't remember, like Skylar's sister always wore purple, and that was to like, it was something to do with how she always shoplifted. It was something to do with that. And then like Walter, his colors were like, they like slowly started showing his love for his greed more, and like his love for the money more within his colors. And for Skylar, it was like, I can't remember if I think because it was like super bright at first, and then it just kind of got, you can kind of tell like they all changed their style throughout the show, just like depending on, I saw a really good TikTok about it, so I can't explain it as well as the TikTok, but they definitely did do that. And the director, I heard him talk about it, and he did do it on purpose. Like it was a the entire color scheme of all the costumes, it has something to do with each episode.
Oh yeah.
All of it matters.
And jumping off of that train of thought with like the colors, they also do that in Toy Story.
Really?
In animation films especially, where they use color to symbolize different things. Like, for example, and I say Toy Story, but Toy Story is not the greatest. The Disney princesses, for example.
Okay.
When you think of blue, who do you think of?
Cinderella.
When you think of green, who do you think
The
of?
Little Mermaid.
When you think of pink, who do you think of?
Rapunzel.
Mm-hmm. So, like, Rapunzel is purple, and Cinderella is blue, and Tiana is green, and Ariel is pink, and Aurora is also pink.
What?
But, like, Aurora is also blue because of, in the movie, when they're doing the little twiddle with the wands. But color plays so much into a character that it's insane. And they also use that color in themes of
Rapunzel
the movie.
is purple, you're right.
Yeah, but they also use that in themes of the movie as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, purple becomes this kind of strength for Rapunzel, and you see it all throughout Tangled. Like,
that's
the purple
true. You do
banisters,
see a lot of purple.
the purple in the towns. Like, it's amazing how they, like, use color to almost connect two objects to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really interesting animation and direction choice to do that as well, to like solely connect a color to a person.
Color is such a fun and beautiful thing, man.
It is, and it also is
color.
it's a representation of like so much too. Like, I think one of the biggest things is like, okay, so to scale it down a little bit, the argument over what folder goes for what class. Like how some people associate blue with math, but then some people are like, no, blue is science.
Yeah, and red is math.
Which is wrong. No.
What?
Red is English.
Red is English to you?
Yes. Red is English, blue is math, yellow or green is science.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, see, it's a color interpretation.
I see green as history, to be honest.
That's fair. That's fair. I feel like yellow is first pick science and green is kind of humanities.
Yeah.
But it's color association.
I can
And
get
you see that in film with like red is either anger or hate. It's a more passionate response, and blue is a more somber response, and green is obviously a happier response. And they do that with like, you know, like on a sunny day as compared to like a bleak morning.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool set decision that I see.
I love when shots convey like the mood, which is why I'm really excited for this mood project, because getting to use the shots that will convey a certain mood, I'm really hoping it stays raining.
Really?
This would help. This would help for some shots. I'm not gonna lie.
You could always just get a water hose and
Just do bleak.
sprinkle it over to give yourself a bleak. No, I think it's a really cool tactic to use, and honestly it's more natural too. It's more natural to use the color and the occasions outside, the weather outside to connect things. And it's probably, I guess for me at least, it's probably the number one thing I see in films when they're like changing stuff, like in Twilight, that when Bella's sitting in her chair and she's moping because Edward's gone, and oh, woe is me, but that's not the point. She's sitting in her chair, and I'm suspecting they do a dolly, which is a tactic where you have a moving tripod and you can move with something, or it might be trucking too, I'm not sure.
Pretty sure Dolly was the one.
I think it's a dolly, but they move the camera around her, and as they're doing that, the seasons are changing. And I'm pretty sure it's a mixture of camera technique and CGI, but I'm not sure. I think it might be multiple shots with different sets, and they're just fading into each other as like the technique. But it's really cool to see that like season change, and how that affects like her status as going through, because she starts in spring, and then it goes to fall and winter and then back to summer, and in that time it's like watching her go through the 6 stages or whatever stages of grief. And so finally when it comes back to summer, she's finally happy again.
That's super cool. That reminds me of there was a I played this video game. It was called The Last of Us, and it's about this. It's pretty much just like the basis is like The Walking Dead zombie apocalypse type thing, except this girl named Ellie, she's immune, and they don't really know why. She's just immune. So this dude named Joel, kind of like takes her across country to try and get her to this group called the Fireflies. He pretty much just becomes her father.
Yeah.
And at one point, Joel, let me just say this right now. Joel's not a good person, all right? Joel has crossed a lot of people in his life, and Joel has made a lot of enemies, no friends. And so some of said enemies found him, did not like him, took care of him. Ellie did not like that. And so there's this clip of like her from when she was a little kid, and it like does that dolly technique where it like goes around her, and it shows her like evolve into like just because in the second game she is just out for blood the whole time.
Yeah, it's like
she
it's
goes
a thing.
she goes to Seattle for 3 straight days. She left the entire place to go down.
Yes.
Whole
It's a way to show
It
character
is.
development, and then they take it and they build on it, like you said in The Last of Us. They do it in Twilight because suddenly Bella is this. Well, I don't need Edward and I don't need a man. They do it in Let's see, what else do they do it in? I can't think of.
Legally Blonde.
Yes. They do it in Legally Blonde. They do it in, well, I guess kind of the montage in itself, because if we're talking about just kind of that like transformation, then we could talk about Princess Diaries and how she goes from, being a regular girl to a princess. You see the same thing in a lot of child animated shows.
Yeah, that reminded me of Sophia the First.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say Sophia the First. Which also kind of goes into song choice.
Song choice is really good.
That's another really big aspect.
I think Deadpool and Wolverine did really well with their song choice.
Stop it. NSYNC.
Yes.
I will never get over the like.
Do you know why they chose that song?
Why?
Because 20 years ago in like one of the original X-Men's, Hugh Jackman was talking about how he hates that song specifically. And so Ryan Reynolds.
That's great. Oh my gosh, I love that.
That's why I loved that opening scene. That whole opening scene, if y'all haven't seen it, it was best opening scene in a movie in a long time.
It was
so funny.
It was funny because he was like, well,
how are we going to do this without
Wolverine
ruining
is
his
immune.
legacy? How are we
Which means that he is in fact not dead.
I don't think he literally just goes, I don't think you guys know how regenerative healing factor works.
Right.
Wait,
right.
He's dead.
And then I was like, oh, okay. And then all of a sudden it was like watching a music video. And I was like,
okay, smarty
wait.
pants.
But the other thing is they did really cool effects with the bullets. In the beginning of that, they did a real, like when you're following the bullet, and especially in 3D, watching that.
Did you watch it in 3D?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, how was that?
And it was insane.
Oh shit!
It was insane because insane. That's all I can say about it. But yeah, they do that really cool dance montage, and then I also like.
That had to have been crazy.
I also like
3D.
The technique that they do, and I was going to bring it up earlier, but I like the technique that they do when Cassandra puts her hands into the thing and it kind of
I'm really trying to remember what you're talking about.
When she puts her hands into the thing and then she starts to destroy the timeline.
Oh, yes.
And the reactor kind of
like just like grows?
Yeah, like grows it, and in 3D it was like watching it like shake and evolve and rove, and it reminded me, I don't know how many plays you've seen, but I went and saw Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, and they do a technique like that in theater where they make it feel like you're literally seeing it like wave, like you're literally going back in time, like you're literally seeing the destruction on screen, and it's like a waving technique almost. So it's like watching waves of something go over. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know the scene I'm talking about in Deadpool versus Wolverine?
Well, yeah, when like at the very end when she's like trying
Yeah,
to
she's
destroy the
reaching
timeline.
in. She's got
I
her
know what
mind
you're talking about,
connected to
yeah.
it. She's going to it, and it's like reaching out, and her power is going into it. And that was really, honestly, like CGI wise,
CGI wise, they did
cool
really great
to
with that
watch.
movie. I was just really scared that the CGI wouldn't be so great because with the past few MCU movies, the CGI has not been great, especially for like Eternals. Eternals did not have great CGI. I'm gonna be honest.
It's been
been rough, except Spider-Man: No Way Home. That movie was amazing. Other than that, they have been struggling, and
I did not see
Hugh
the movie.
Jackman really did join in at a low point.
I did not see the Spider-Man movie.
What? I saw it 7 times in theater.
7 times?
That was my childhood.
Oh my gosh.
I got excited.
So I have not seen a lot of the Marvel movies, but I think Hugh Jackman is their redemption. And I think one of the funniest I don't see it a lot in film, but I've seen it especially in the Deadpool, the ability to break the fourth wall. Now, in film, from what we've learned, there is this line of there's this line you don't cross, and it's like if you're looking at a circle, there's the line of 180.
Yeah.
And you do not cross that line camera-wise. Everything stays on one side, so you have one consecutive shot from wherever you're shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And you're typically not supposed to break the fourth wall.
Yes.
But the ability for his character to do that in the film,
It works really well.
it's cool.
I wish that they had done more fourth wall breaking in the third one like they did in the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the first one, he broke the fourth wall like all that. He talked to us a lot. And I feel like he broke the fourth wall a lot in the third one, but it was more of like him letting us know that he knows we exist and that he knows what he is and that the Marvel universe exists and like that he's in a movie. He knows all of it. And he's like, he let us know like constantly throughout the movie. Like when he told, he's like, welcome to the MCU, you're joining in at a low point. Like he's letting us know throughout the entire movie.
No, I like it because the jokes about Fox and Disney.
Yes, I was just about to say the one about Fox.
And going to Loki's world and seeing the like Fox crumpled on the side. It was
And like when he ran up to the camera and was like, screw you, Fox, I'm going to Disneyland, and he like broke the camera.
Yes, and how he would look at Hugh Jackman and he was like, and you're gonna be doing this till you're 90.
He said that like 4 times. He's
I
not
know
joking.
it was a recurring thing, and it was funny every time he did it because he delivered it so well.
Just
and
like he has risen, baby girl. That line was perfect. That whole the entire movie was perfect.
I'm surprised Disney let it go as far as it went, but I'm
Disney
also really glad they let it go as far as it went.
Dude, I'm so glad Disney let so much slide. They let so much slide that I'm surprised that they let slide.
They did.
Like the Fox joke, I'm so surprised that slid.
I'm surprised they let that one slid, and then also just like Deadpool himself as his character and his personality. I'm
Deadpool in
surprised they let a
Disney
lot
is-
slide, but it was great. It was a great movie.
The fact that Disney like bought Fox because they wanted Deadpool will never not be funny to me. Disney wanted the one non-Disney character ever. Like the most non-Disney character you could ever own, and they wanted to own him.
I mean, it's great.
They said we can make him better. We can Disneyfy him.
Yeah, but they did, and they did it really well. And
gave
I
him Mickey Mouse ears.
also find it interesting with production with advertising on that movie, which kind of brings it into the "It Ends With Us" drama, but it kind of goes into the and this is kind of where I'll start to kind of wrap it up on the mood and everything. But with advertising, with using 2 movies. And how they use kind of the Deadpool and Wolverine to kind of recreate the Barbieheimer.
Yeah, it's not Barbenheimer.
Yeah,
they can't recreate that. That like Barbenheimer became so big because it was so wild.
Listen, you will never be Ryan Gosling, and I don't know her name.
Margot Robbie.
No, the star from Oppenheimer. I don't know her name. You will
Oh,
never.
Cillian H. Murphy.
What?
Cillian H. Murphy?
No, the girl.
Oh, Florence Pugh.
Yes. You will never. No, that's not her name. I'll figure her name out later. You will never have the same.
What was the other girl from?
I don't know the other girl's name. But you will never be able to recreate Ryan Gosling's off-screen drama with the lead female of that show, of Oppenheimer. And I stand by that.
Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt.
That was her name, y'all. Emily Blunt.
Because the way that they were on SNL, the Grammy disses, it was great.
Dude,
it was absolutely
Barbenheimer
great.
was such a fun time to be alive. And all the movie posters that people made were really cool.
Oh, yes.
The movie posters were insane.
I love how Barbie did that, especially with like, and this Barbie.
Dude, Barbie, like, that movie was actually really good. I love Barbie. Barbie was a really good movie.
It was.
If y'all haven't watched Barbie, y'all need to go watch
It
Barbie.
was. And it was, and that goes back to mood.
Mm-hmm.
The way that they used color and the way that they used mood and tone, especially in
Compared to
like
the
Barbie's
real world?
character
Yes.
herself in the real world is
Dude,
great.
Comparing how Barbie would fit in the real world to like how the real world actually is
Mhm.
was really interesting to see.
It
I also
is
really
definitely
liked the
bolding.
message of that movie.
Yeah,
I feel like that message was good.
it was it was great for the teenage audience.
Yes.
I feel like that's a great movie for, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, kind of girls my age, especially
Mhm.
going from that like, you know, childhood. Oh, everything is great, and I'm a girl, and
Yes.
you know, I get to, you know, that's not the reality. Like the reality is, there's a lot of struggles out there,
Yeah.
and it's a really great coming of age. It's a really
Yes.
great coming of age movie, and it did really well for Barbie too, to kind of direct away from their kind of like perfect girl into this
Mhm.
like, you
She's not
are a female who can do whatever you want,
Yes.
and that was really cool to see.
Barbie was a 10 out of 10 movie, y'all.
Barbie was a 10 out of 10
So
movie.
was Oppenheimer, by the way.
Oppenheimer was a 10 out of 10
Oppenheimer
movie.
was like, I was surprised I was able to sit through that entire movie. I was
Yeah.
locked in, dude. When him and Robert Downey Jr. when I realized that they were beefing and they weren't friends, I was like, oh, dude, it had me stressing in the theater.
Well, I guess it all goes back to mood, doesn't it?
It
All goes back to mood. All right. Well, I guess with that we can wrap up today's episode. Thank you guys for joining us on the
Thank
Pack
you guys so
Pod.
much.
I'm Eva,
I'm Rex.
and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Blue.